Hey everyone, looks like we are live. We made it to yet another week. How's everything going today? I hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. I just want to thank you for coming hanging out. Today is part one of how to paint an angel. So that's always going to be an interesting and fun project for us to work on together. So I'm excited about that. And let's see who we have here today. We have Mark Dietz. How are you? Are you from Minnesota? Let me see if I got Mark correct in Minnesota. Probably not, but I'm going to keep trying. Good to see you, Mark. I'm so glad you're here. Colette, how you doing? From the Atlanta area. Great to see you. We have Patty C. from Illinois, and we have, that's it so far. How's everyone doing today? Part one is always exciting. Dan, how you doing from Indianapolis? And so, Mark, where are you from? Let's see if how far off I am. Hey, JC, how's it going? Great to see you. Cálmate, sí, pero yo estoy muy contento al verte, señor. So, gracias por estar aquí. You know. Por tu estás aquí. Muchísimas gracias. And let's see, so we have Mark from Calgary. Go Flames, yes. So thank you so much for coming here all the way from Canada. Up and coming artist, how's it going? Great to see you from the Bahamas. How are you? I remember you, so how's everything, sir? So glad you're here. So what a great group already, so I'm very excited. Thank you. Good to see you, my friend. I'm really happy to see you, JC, all the way from the Atlanta area. And so glad everything is going good. Up and coming on. It's great to see you from the Bahamas. And so, Big Mountain Customs, how's it going? Great to see you. How you been, my friend? So glad you're here. Now, Big Mountain's been a little while. Now, where are you from, sir? Are you from the, I would say, New York area? Let me see if I got that right. I'm probably totally off Big Mountain Customs. Oh, Indiana. Great to see you. Are you from Indianapolis or by Fort Wayne? So that is so great. Aloha. Color Graphics, Mr. Roy, how's it going? Great to see you, sir. How is everything today? So glad you're here. So I'm excited to work on part one of the angel. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And I always like to come in with the white mixture and then do some little bit of freehand stencil work to get it going. I'm not sure if this is going to be a painting in color or a painting in black and white. But I'm going to have it up a poll for the whole day, and you all tell me if you want it. I'm going to do the poll right now. Let's see. Start a poll. And the question is, do you Okay, do you want to see the angel painting in black and white or color? And I started the poll, so feel free to go ahead and answer that question. Whatever you guys and girls pick, that's what it's going to be, either black and white or color painting. Oh, you're from Hawaii. Aloha. That is so fantastic. And I'm so glad to see you. So that is great. What part of Hawaii? So that's great. Mr. Dave Gregory, how's it going, my friend? Great to see you. How are you today? All the way from Texas. I'm so glad you're here, sir. So that is very cool. I'm so glad you're here. And Big Mountain Custom says, a lot of airbrush artists remember him from the old days. Although I always painted, I got more selective with the jobs I took. Oh, cool. Very cool. So cool that Mr. Dave is doing well, and that's great. And we got Roy, fellow Jersey guy. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start with the eyes, nose, and mouth just to get that started, and then we're going to start working with the white. I just want to get that established, right? So I'm going to put our magnets here, and I have my angel folder of all the information that I need for that, which is great. And at first it's going to be hard to see what I'm doing. There's hardly anything on the paper as of yet. And here's the eyes, nose, and mouth. Well, there's really nothing for the nose. On the question is, yes, color or black and... Oh, great. Yes, so cool. So definitely we got one yes so far. Thank you so much, sir. Let's see what we have. So we have one yes, so that's great. So everyone wants, so far everybody wants color, which is great. And Tim the poll said yes or no, not, oh, what does it say? Do you want the angel in black and white? And yeah, that's really weird. I gotta edit that, right? Can I edit that? That's the question. Yeah, look at that. My my typing skills leave something to be desired. Yes, black or white or color. So let me end the poll, and I'll redo the poll. Sorry about that, everyone. And let's see. So we'll start another poll, and here we go. And let's see. Question is, would you prefer this painting in black and white or in color? So it says, would you prefer this painting in black and white or in color? Okay, now we're good. Now we're ready to go. So now the poll is good. So that's fantastic. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to use my freehand shield, right, and get my glasses. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is on correctly, which is key. Put a little more light on the subject here. I think this is pretty good. Now we'll just put our magnets close. And I have the detail mixture. Oh, Mr. Gregory, thank you so much for the generous super chat, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your friendship and all the support. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited that you have the inks and you're going to be working on the online course of Gal Gadot. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. And so that's on Teachable. And so very cool. So you're enrolled in that course, ready to go, and I'm excited to see what you do with that. I know you're going to do great things. I definitely know that. And let's see. And thank you once again for the wonderful super chat, sir. And oh, so cool. Yeah, it's going to come out great. If you have any questions during the way, feel free to shoot me an email or IM me. I'll take care of that for you. And so let's see. Strike 2 for Tim, JC says. Let's see. So let's see. So the new poll says, let me see, make sure. Would you prefer this painting in black and white or in color? Okay, I think that's okay. Not bad, guys, right? And let's see. No, that's it. That's what it's gonna be. Would you prefer this painting in black and white or in color? So that's the way it's gonna stand. So so you know, you just got to deal with my horrible, horrible English grammar. So sorry about that, guys. But bear with me. Okay, so definitely hit that poll, guys, and let's see. So vote in the poll so I see. So it's very democratic. So I'm just going to very lightly just kind of kiss her eyes and her lips super light. Now I have this technique where I basically have the lips where I flip over uh, one lip, and then when that's done I flip over the other one and do that very lightly. I'm just establishing it. That's all I'm doing. And you'll see it's ridiculously light, right? And alright, forget about the poll. Never mind. We're going to figure out what we're going to do. So I don't know what's going on with me. My mind is alert, but it's just not working the way I want it to. So anyway, sorry about that. And let's see. Alright, so now we have that, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and touch on her hair. So I have a hair only stencil here, and we'll put that in together. Let's see. And it's good to establish this, and this way when I come in with the white, I'll just cover the hair so it doesn't get in the way. There he is! How's everything going, Astral? Thank you so much, JC. I appreciate that. And so, Astral, how's everything, my friend, all the way from the UK? Are you feeling better? I pray you are. I hate when you're not feeling well, sir. And so now I'm just going to put this here. And there we go. Alright, so we're going to make sure that the hair is good. There we go. It doesn't match. The only thing you really want to match when you're doing the hair is definitely you want to match the contours of the face, shoulders, and neck. Because if that's off, it's going to be a world of hurt, right, everybody? So, let's see. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to stick with that. And then we're going to come in with the white mixture, which is going to be a lot of fun. And so JC says 1 black, 2 white, and 3 sepia. Sepia is fun. I should do a sepia one of these days. Michael McClung, how are you? Oh, so Michael got the airbrush and he says it's shooting really well. Thank you so much for the update. And thank you so much for the challenge, sir. I really appreciate your patience and your friendship. That is so good. And so thank you so much. I see Ryan. How you doing? All the way from Canada. How's it going today? So glad you're here. How's everything going? So that's cool. JC says, watch out. Yes, that needle sticks out really nice and far. Isn't that true, sir? Right, JC? You got to watch out for the pokes. That's for sure. No pain, no gain, right? And let's see. Put this, get all these magnets. I don't want underspray, especially since her face is going to be on the camera right side of her face, going to be a lot of white, you know, lots and lots of white. Alright, so I still have the detail mixture with half and half of water, so 20 drops of detail mixture, 20 drops of water, put it in one of these cups and then put it in the airbrush. I'm going to be about 6 inches from the subject. And I'm always going to be looking at my reference with Pure Ref, okay? And let's see. JC said tip of the needle is half the size of the airbrush. You might poke the person in the next room. So now I'm just going to about, I would say I'm a good 7 inches away. Remember, further away the lighter and more even the spray, right? So I'm just going to super lightly. I'm just establishing at this point. I'm not looking for the correct value. I'm just working on the big shapes. And, you know, being this far away really ensures that we have a very beautiful even spray. Okay, so that's the last of my half and half of the detail mixture. The needle seemed longer than the other one. Very cool. So that is cool. And so JC, Michael said, so I put a shorter needle in the last 2 airbrushes because it seemed to work better with the needle packing to create the that airlock, that vacuum. So that's why it might be a shorter needle. Hey, Emmanuel, how's it going? From Ireland, right? How are you, sir? I'm so glad to see you. Thank you so much for coming. So that is great. And let's see here. So the great thing about when I go ahead and customize the airbrush, it's always, you know, as an individual airbrush. So when I get an airbrush, I customize it. And each airbrush, I'll tell you, each airbrush needs a different type of TLC for it to work perfectly. You know, for a detail mixture that I think that rivals a custom micron. One of those Takumis, definitely. And definitely I feel beats any Harder and Steenbeck out there. But it doesn't start out that way. It's what I do with it, you know. Checking out the air valve, the needle packing, the, you know, the precision air valve, you know, make sure that the insides are clean and, you know, there's no air obstruction. And sometimes the needle guide might not be as smooth as I like it, so I'll go and I'll sand that out and have that totally smooth by the time you get it. So my goal with the airbrush is that when you get it out of the box, you're just ready to do amazing things with it, you know? Let's see, what do we got here? JC says the tip of the needle is half the size, and let's see. Oh, you're going for a shower. Oh, take care. I hope you make it back, my friend. If you don't, have a great night, Mr. JC. Take care, my friend. And let's see. We have Air Todd all the way from San Diego. How's it going, my friend? You're the best. And Astral, that was pretty funny. And let's see, Big Custom says, that's a great price for a customized Patriot arrow. I have a Patriot and I do love the brush. My only issues with it, oh, I change out the trigger, you know. So I change out the trigger with a smaller trigger. And I also change the backing so you can get to it really fast. I also put a spring, a customized spring on the control air valve. And make sure that the needle is perfect and everything is working perfectly before you get it. So, and I test it, you know, if I'm not doing, you know, hairline paint, it just doesn't work, you know. So glad to see you there, JC, and you take care. Say hi to Sergio for me. Oh, look at that, Emmanuel just finished a painting of his a newborn baby. That's amazing. Wow. Oh, Colette, thank you. She says she loves the customized badger that she just purchased. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I really appreciate you buying a customized airbrush. It's such an honor that you have one. And, oh, Air Todd's going to his iPad soon, so that's cool. The hair is a little bit darker, so I'm just going to do one more layer. and then we'll lift that up. And what I like to do after I do a layer is I let it dry. Ah, thank you. Mr. Gregory says they are awesome. And oh, cool. Sergio, you're the best. Very cool. So I'm just going to go and just get some air on this. Just even this out. Put some air on this, and then we'll lift this up. And we'll see what we're going to do next, right? And let's see. Bring all these over here, and I'll take off these little magnets here. What a great group. We already have 16 concurrent viewers. Thank you, everybody, for checking out the painting. And of course, this is an angel, and angels are so beautiful and amazing. So I know it's a good subject for a lot of people. We all need more angels in our lives. Emmanuel says it has a green umbilical cord. Oh my goodness. That is different. So that's cool. Michael says, yeah, I might get another airbrush from you, Tim, and thank you so much for the paint. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And so now I have a lot of airbrushes in stock, so if anyone gets an airbrush, they'll get it very quickly. Just a little bit longer than Amazon. Maybe instead of 2-day shipping, 3-day shipping. So here we are now. We don't have much, but there's a reason. So I think we're probably going to go in with color. I think this is going to be a color painting. I'm pretty sure. And so now what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and start with a little bit of freehand airbrushing and then come in with the white. Let's do that. And let's see. Patty says her customized airbrush is still awesome, stands the test of time. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. And Colette says you didn't include that in the painting, did I? Now, what's that? What's that? Oh, you're talking to... oh, you're discussing Mr. Emmanuel. Very cool. Big Mountain says, and I wasn't always an Iwata fan. They didn't really begin to cross his radar until he sprayed their Supernova paint gun line. Fell in love with it and gave them a shot. I have to say, the Iwatas are beautiful. They're beautiful, well-made airbrush, and you can't go wrong, you know? I love them. I used to have nothing but Iwatas until I started customizing my Badgers, and then I just fell in love and sold my Iwatas. And so that's cool. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do something very special for just the people here tonight. I am going to do something. If anyone gets the customized airbrush tonight, I'll go ahead and I'll send a free set of inks with that. So you get a free set of my my India inks and another free secret gift. So if anyone, I will customize it tomorrow and send it out on Friday. So if anyone's interested, plus I have another special that I'm going to do just for tonight, and let's see what I can do for you. If you use this code buying anything on my website, sorry to interrupt with this, if you use this code at checkout, InkFlinger15, that would give you 15% off of anything on inkflingers.com. That includes artwork and everything. Okay, so enough of my commercials. Let's get to painting. And so now I'm just going to start, you know, working on a little bit of the detail of her eye before I come in with the white. And we'll zoom in. And let's see, I need more contrast. I think that's what it is. A little more contrast. So I'm just going to work a little bit on her eyes. Just a little freehand airbrush. And that's cool. Wick, how's it going all the way from Canada? Great to see you. So glad you're here. And at the end of so we'll do it like 12 o'clock Pacific time. That code is going to be gone. It's just for you guys, really, guys and girls, if you decide to get anything tonight. I'll take that off tomorrow. There we go. And you see I can just come in and just do a little tight detail. I'm going to come in with the white mixture and then I'll go darker from there. Let's see. Nick, how's it going? Great to see you, Nick. I just saw you in here. How's everything? Now, Nick, you are from Minnesota, right? I'm pretty sure you're from Minnesota, Nick. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I hope so. But correct me if I'm wrong. Patty says to go for it. He got hers a while ago. She got hers a while ago, and she enjoys it. Oh, yes. Thank you. That is so wonderful. Thank you, Patty. And I'm just going to work on a little bit, just to get a little bit more of direction with some detail before I come in with the white. I think I'm going to do a little bit on her lips, but remember, I'm going to be coming in with color, so I don't want to go too dark because that's going to affect the color. For airbrush paint to work, you always work from light to dark. So if I make the lips too dark, when I come in with red, it's going to mix with the red. It's going to come out maroon. So I got to be very careful of that, you know. Oh, great, Nick. That is so cool. So I didn't get Big Mountain Customs, and I did not get Mark's right today, but I got yours right, so that's good. So thank you. So that is really cool. So Mr. Big Mountain says the only Badgers he currently owns are the Patriot Extreme and the Sotard 2020. I do love the Badgers and they serve a purpose in his operation, but for workhorse brushes I lean for the Takumis. The Takumis are great workhorse brushes. Workhorse brushes, definitely. I agree. You may change your mind if you get one of these. Only from experience. If I didn't do it myself, I definitely wouldn't say it. But I use these for everything. My India inks, I use it for candies, everything. And it's a great all-purpose. But the beauty, and I think about this airbrush, is its secret weapon, which is that you can get these razor sharp details. So I'm going really light, and I'll zoom out, and I'll get my focus back. And Michael McGlung says, Big Mountain, I have 2 of Tim's airbrush. Both of them shoot really well. That's why I'm thinking of a third. I got the big cup and the little cup. Thank you, sir. And you should see Big Mountain, some of the work that Mike McGlung is doing. And he has a new YouTube channel, which is amazing. Check that out, guys, if you haven't. And like I said, I'm just establishing some of the main values. I'm still compressing those values, right? I'm not going too dark or too light at this point. Just taking my time. It's really important that you take your time. Gary, how's it going, my friend? Great to see you. How's everything? I'm so glad you're here. How was Kyle's birthday? Oh, yeah, definitely great to see you, Gary. Gary from the Hershey area. So glad to see you. And, Emmanuel, is your new painting on your website or on your YouTube channel? I'd love to see it. So many talented people out there, you know, and I love this group because you all are so very talented. Sometimes I have the pack valve too low, so I gotta raise it. That's a great thing. You can adjust it for different, you have this right here, no need for a Mac valve, it's built in. And I put a spring so when you set it, it stays, which is very important. Ah, Patty, have a great night. Don't work too hard. Oh, he's in rehab. That is wonderful. That is great progress, Gary. You know, him being in rehab is just fantastic. So thanks for the good news. That's the best news I heard all week. So fantastic. And Big Mountain says he's considering it, but money is kind of funny right now, Big Mountain says. A lot of irons on lots of fires, which means I'm gambling big, hoping a big return on investment. Sometimes to grow up, I have to bet on yourself. Yeah, you know, you really do. And, you know, when you bet on yourself, the way I look at it is you do your best and leave the results up to God, you know? And that's what I do. And I just try to do my very, very best. And that's all you can do, right? And so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to concentrate on her head. But before I do that, let me work on a little bit of her body here. So here is the space between the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid right here. Just put that in there. And this is turning slowly. And then on this side it turns. I don't want to do much. I just want to establish the large shapes. And right here is the shape inside the two sternocleidomastoids in the clavicle here. So thank you everyone for hanging out. I really appreciate this on a Wednesday night. It means the world to me. I just want to say big thank you to everybody. So Mr. Dave, how was your trip overall? I know you visited several cities for work. And how did that go? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it? Just like my other painting, she has a dress on the bottom, so I'm going to get a separate stencil for that, and that's going to be really nice. And kind of, I learned that from the last painting. That really helps to create depth, you know, to have that. Oh, a 2. Oh no, so that was rough, huh? Oh man. Oh, and Big Mountain says, yes, he lays everything at his feet. That's the best way. I know that he says show up, and he's definitely going to roll up. Yes, that is the best. That's exactly it. And so, yeah, that's the best thing you can do, and the best advice you can give anybody. Just do your best, and leave the rest up to him. Leave the rest up to God. But we have to do our best. Not too much, just our best. You know, we don't have to kill ourselves, right? That's the truth. Okay, so I want to kind of work on her nose here. And so just want to make sure I get it right. So I'm going to kind of work on my drawing here. Just a little bit here. And Michael says he just noticed today that 2 days to get that special painting done. Good thing is I started on it. Oh, cool. So you only have 2 days. That's rough. And Dave says 8. Too much time away. Oh, so an 8. Okay, good. So that's good. So 8's not bad. A 2 would be horrible, right? But yeah, being away that long for work is rough. And Astral says, it's funny you are doing an angel. He was thinking of painting an Archangel Michael. You should do it. If you have that feeling, you should definitely go for that. I'd love to see it. I think that's an amazing subject. And then I can get rid of some of these superfluous lines here. But I do have this right here. I have her philtrum. And we'll put that in. And very cool. So what a fantastic group tonight. It's always a fantastic group. I'm always so blessed to have great people supporting the channel and being part of the community. That's the best. So one of the things you always want to check, it happens to all airbrushes. You just press down, and if anything comes out without pushing back, that means you have something stuck in the nozzle. And then you just blow that out usually, and that usually works. But it happens to the best of us. I'm going to make sure I get the angle right of the philtrum. Maybe just darken some of the darkest darks of the lip there. Nothing too crazy, Oh, Dave says that he's got to see the wife and kids in PA, a high school friend in California, family in Nevada, and good time with his team in Kansas. Met some great people, but now I'm catching up. Yes, definitely. That sounds like a great group, a great trip, but very tiring, I imagine. Astral says, don't blow it out by sticking it in your mouth. No, that's always bad, Astral. I don't want to do that. No, that would be interesting if I went like that and blew it in my mouth. It would be definitely couldn't do it too many times. Just gonna establish some of the darks of the alar cartilage. So here's a good thing to know, that the nose, right, is broken up into 3 separate parts. On the top of the nose, I would say about 1.5 inches are the nasal bones. And when you see a skull, those are usually the only bones you see. There's a left and right nasal bone. There's the septum that goes right down the middle. Next, after the septum bones, are the upper lateral cartilages. And so those are cartilage, and so you'll see that. And that's not bone or muscle, it's cartilage. Now wrapped around that is going to be a muscle called the nasalis. Now usually the ball of the nose is the third part of the nose, and that's called the alar cartilage, and it's shaped like a wing. And the thing is, alar means wing in Latin. So always remember there's 3 parts of a nose, right? Oh man, Gary says he can't stay early morning road trip. Have a great night, and thank you so much. And the prayers are always there for your son and your family, and always looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks for hanging out, sir. I really appreciate you. And Gary, you take care. Don't work too hard. I got to tell myself that too. We have a tendency to work way too hard. I'm just going to do the shadow. which is a cast shadow from the upper lip, just very lightly. And then the rest will very lightly come in here. Like I said, I want to go like guns blazing, go in with the, I want to go in guns blazing with the white mixture, but I have to chill out a little bit. And I want to keep the values relatively light. Now here we have her nose, and her nose has a really beautiful hard edge here. So I'm going to look for the perfect freehand shield for this. This one usually works really, really well. I may have to crawl along the surface here. Let's see. A lot of times you'll find it if you twirl it around. Let's see if this works. There we go. And then a little bit over here. So you're not going to find the exact edge. You're going to have to kind of manipulate your freehand shield a little bit. And I might cut that in. I'll wait till it dries before I do any erasing, everybody. I'm going to work on the dark crease between the two lips. And then right here, we have that going on there. Okay. Now we have a little bit of a separation between her jaw, which is the mandible, and that's coming forward. So we have to make sure the mandible comes forward from her neck. It's going to be about 6 inches away, and I'm just going to crawl along that surface, and we'll come down here. And let's see, Mr. Zave says, what exercise do you recommend for airbrush control? Great question. I have some really good ones. I do like doing my lowercase L's in script, right? And then I do my uppercase L's in script. And that's really good. You start doing a couple of pages of them, and you'll be surprised how much better you get. Also, what I like doing as well is, I'll zoom in and show you. This is great for airbrush control. Trust me on this one. So we'll focus on this. Okay. So what I like to do is draw some dots. And then what I like to do is get my aim right. And that's important. So I'll put this right here. And then I'll just try and hit that on the nose. And that really gets your aim because, and control. And then what I like to do is to go ahead and connect those dots. Right? Connect those dots. And you can see you get to spidering, and you see that. So I know if I lower my air pressure and go a little bit further away, that I won't get the spidering. So it really helps. So those dots are really good. It helps, keeps me to know about distance and air pressure, especially when doing tight detail. So that helps a lot. Okay, so let's make this a bit brighter. There we go. And so let's erase some of this here. And let's see. And Michael says his Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry painting is starting to come together really well. I need to lay it down for a while. Yes, you know, sometimes you do. Just step away from it and see it fresh is always good. Or practice writing your name in Airbrush. That's really good, Michael. So that's a really good, because we all have our signature and everything, so that helps. And Astral says he's working on a painting at the moment, trying to record it, but he's struggling with OBS Studio. My camera setup, my audio is too loud, too low, and his health. But I will do my best. Try using split cam. It's really simple and it's very intuitive, so give that a shot, okay? Splitcam.com, I believe. And Big Mountain says this may be a stupid, misguided at best question. There's no bad questions here. I don't care what it is. I'm so happy to answer. And Mr. Big Mountain says, is there a way for us to get our hands on the stencils you're using? Or did you already answer that question? No. I could go ahead. So if you want a stencil for an individual product, I could go ahead and make all the stencils and the line drawing for you for $20. So that would be $20 plus shipping. So, and that would be really good because I keep the live stream up. And so I'll make all the stencils, I'll make the line drawing for you, I'll even draw in a second line drawing, so if one doesn't come out right, you have the second line drawing. So definitely I'll be glad to do that. Just IM me, Big Mountain, I'll be very happy to do that for you. Because it does take a lot of time to make them, and then also a lot of time to cut them. So, oh, you're in. Oh, fantastic, great. And I'm thinking of doing it where you can do any of my live streams in the past. If I still have the files, I'd be glad to do that. Oh, that would be great. And I think it would help out a lot of the viewers. So that's a great idea. Not a bad question at all. So great question. And so the hair I'm not worried about. That comes later, right? I'm not worried about the hair too much. So here is the depressor anguli oris. It's a very interesting muscle here, and you see it all the time. So it what makes us frown, right? And you have the levator anguli oris over here that makes us smile. And I am going to come in later with the, definitely going to come in later with the white mixture. Okay. So the thing is, I don't want to go too dark, but I do want to establish the light and dark areas. So I'm going to compress the values rather dramatically. And I'll be saying that a lot. So if you're not, you know, used to hearing the words compressed values, you're going to definitely be sick of it by the time this painting is done in about 6 weeks. Alright, so let's start coming in with, well, we can do a little more detail. So here's the thing, always slow it down. So you see me stopping myself and saying, okay, I'm going to continue as opposed to going faster. Bobby, how's it going? Great to see you. Oh, thank you, Colette. I appreciate that. So definitely that's so cool. So that'll be a new thing I'll offer on Ink Flingers. And it's great. It helps you guys, it supports the channel. It's a win-win, you know. Allows me to continue doing this. So I love the work of William Bouguereau. So this is going to have a real Bouguereau kind of flavor to it, this painting. Okay, on this side, I want to establish the clavicle here. There's a left and right clavicle. And notice that I'm pretty far away. You can't see it, but I'm pretty far away, you know. And let's see, Dave, there are only 5 strokes that you use in airbrush painting. Those being the dagger, rat tail, the dagger / rat tail, left and right C strokes, forward and backward S strokes. Practice will help you go. Great, great advice there. I'm even going to take some of that advice. So thank you, sir. That's a great thing, you know. You all are so talented and you all have so much information, and more information than you even think you have. And that's great, because I learned so much from you all. Okay, so now, dun dun dun, we're going to come in with the white mixture. And I'm just going to take a sip of my half and half here. A big sip. Okay, now we have the wonderful paint by Createx, and we're going to shake that up really well. Oh, very cool, very cool. So how you been, Bobby? How's everything? Good to see you. Shake this up really well. I'm going to get a cup. One of these 1-ounce plastic guys. I'm going to do the same, approximately 20 and 20, right? 20 drops of the white. Well, for me, I measured it's going to be a coating of this cup, right? And then I'm just going to get some water. You don't have to worry about distilled water, denatured water, any of that. The reason being, it's a little warm in here. Let me just lower that temperature. There we go. Because we're not going to be using the paint after tonight. I throw it away. So I'm looking for my water. Here we go. And Michael says when he first started out with airbrush, he did a 36-inch paper by 5 foot tall, and started out with the right tail and all kinds of different rat tail and all different kinds of strokes. Fantastic. I remember when I started, I actually would bring the airbrush to work, and while I was on the phone, I would just practice in my head doing the strokes. Okay, so the paint's very good, and what I'm going to do is look for my little palette knife here. I'm going to shake this up really well. Stir it, not shake it. Shaking would be bad. And I'm going to be using the other airbrush that I sell, which and customizes the Extreme Patriot 105 with the large cup. Everything else is the same. And so it's not like 2-to-1 with water, it's 1-to-1, because I like to see it, you know. I want it a little bit opaque, so that's important. So I want to cover up I don't want to go into the hair, so let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hair only stencil, and that's going to give us a nice setup. Sort of mask off the face, mask off the hair. Okay, let's see. And Big Marshall says Astral, and yes, you could make an argument for dots. However, for him, he don't remember the stipple dots, a stroke that said he welcomed you insight what might be perspective of many. Very true. It's a lot of different perspectives out there, and you know they're all very valid. Whatever works. You know, we all have our different journeys when beginning the airbrush journey, or just you know, some of us step away from the airbrush and come back and need to get the rust out and all that, you know. And Dave says that's how he started. He had an airbrush delivered in Kuwait. Wow, in practice while watching various artists on YouTube. No air compressor, just practice laying out the flames with fine lines on his mirror. Yeah, definitely. Mr. Michael McGlung with the super chat. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. And I'm so excited you have the large cup. The large cup is interesting. It's almost identical to the arrow, but I think the way that the aerodynamics with the cup, it's just a little bit more detail I get out of that, which is really great. And yes, so I was the same way. I was sitting at my desk and I was just practicing dagger strokes, you know, and dots, and you know, doing fading lines and all that, and that was a lot of fun, and it really helped, you know, that whole saying, do within when you're without, right? Ingres, my favorite painter ever, 19th century French neoclassical painter, he said, draw all the time, even when you don't have a pencil, draw with your mind. And I think the same could be said for airbrushing. I'm pretty far away. I'm like maybe 6 inches away, maybe 7 inches, and I'm just moving. It looks like nothing's happening. And that's good, because you want it to look like nothing's happening, because it is. If you see the white, you're putting too much down. And if you put too much down, it's going to have a hard time getting rid of that white. You want to build up that white slowly. So I'm starting off at the forehead, and I'm just going super, super light. And so Mike, I just want to say thank you so much for your support and your friendship. It really helps the channel so much. It keeps me going. You guys just don't know how important that is. And, you know, just, you know, how, you know, your support really keeps everything going. It really does. So right now I'm going to come in here with this highlight. Just going to get this shape here. Now the shape is white here, right? It's not a line, it's white. So I'm going to have to just very slowly build this up. Super slowly. But right now I'm just going to compress it into one value and then go from there. So it's to get those fine lines, you got to start with everything kind of melding together, and then later you can do your super subtle value changes. But at first you want to make sure that it's one shape in the beginning, and this way you'll get people will say, how did you get those subtle changes? Is because it all started out as one value, and then you changed it from there, you know, which is really important. And so Big Mountain says he did a lot of stipple effects, and Sirius prefer doing them with his tattoo machines than the brush. Very cool. That's amazing. And oh yeah, the old I have a Pache Turbo in storage. I never used it. So here's something. As I'm putting in the white, and where it's lighter, I'm going to increase my distance. So it's still going to be white, but a lot less. So think about that. So I'm 6 inches over here where the white is more powerful, and I'm like 12 inches over here where it gets a little more subtle. And that's where you're going to get these micro shifts that, William Bouguereau and Alma Tadema and all those greats did of the 19th century. Get rid of those pencil lines quickly. You don't want to keep them there. They're your training wheels, but you want to take them off as quick as possible. And Michael says, well, Tim, by watching you, I do portraits. Just help me out tremendously. So you are a big... Oh, thank you, man. If I can help out a little bit, then I'm really excited. Now, it's a little more intense here, so I'm going to go a little bit closer. But it's not crazy close, right? We're talking, 6 inches as opposed to 12 inches. But the subtlety that you're going to get is just out of this world. And don't worry about going over the drawing too much. But it's pretty intense here at the orbicularis oris on the camera right side. I'm learning a lot about oil, about airbrushing through oil painting, everybody. I mean, it's been quite a... Lately it's been quite an exploration for me. And we have a little bit of a pencil line here. I'm going to see if I can get rid of that. Okay, that was pretty successful. I'll darken that up later. But it was important for me to get rid of that pencil line. Okay, so I got rid of that. And, oh, Astral says he's writing that one down. Pencil lines are training wheels you need to get rid of as soon as possible. Yes, they're in the way, but without them, you're not going to start correctly. So that is a good one. But they're like training wheels. We need them, right? The only Pache still in his stable, Big Mountain says, are 2 talons. Great brushes if you're looking to produce fine lines. Wow, I love the name, the Talon, It's just such a cool airbrush design, aesthetically. But they're really good for detail. So don't worry about getting everything light at first. Later, we can go ahead and make some changes. And let's see. Right here, I'm afraid of this because it's a pencil line. And I'm afraid of just making it darker, so I'm going to attempt to just cover it up. So I may wait for that to dry a little bit and come back in. Every painting's a learning experience, right? So, I learn, okay, I'm going to handle my next painting with those lines. I'll get rid of them. I'd rather deal with not having the lines and draw it as I paint than having to deal with that. And I always have a scrap piece of paper here and make sure I'm getting the correct, if I may have to raise the pack valve a little bit. You're going to intensify the light here a little bit here. And let's see. So I'm liking it so far. It's good to not to be totally in love with what you're doing. It keeps you working hard, keeps you honest, right? So that's important. And Big Mountain says, don't tempt him. I have too many airbrushes as it is. That's what Astral says. That's so funny. And yeah, so many great airbrushes out there. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of light here, which I'm liking. Don't worry about going over your eyebrow, whatever. Don't worry about that. That's fine. You don't sacrifice anything for getting the wonderful compressed values on here. I think I'm going to be successful getting rid of those pencil lines as opposed to erasing them. So you have the supraorbital eminences above each eye socket, one over here and one over here. On the light side, it's much more pronounced and much brighter because it's facing the light source far more directly. So you'll see that here a lot more than on this side. You'll get a hint of it right here. See, you'll have a hint of that. On the upper right hand corner, you're going to have the frontal eminence right here. So you'll see that. So it's good to know the anatomy of the skull, because that's what's going to give you that structure. And it's a little bit of a light value here in her lip. So I'm just going to hit that really quickly on the bottom lip. Compression, right? Compression of values, so important. So we're going to make sure that we do that as much as possible. Now her face is going to be much brighter than her body. So we're going to look into that and make sure we get that. And if there's anything else people would say we have a problem with, we need rehab about buying all the brushes. Is that funny? Yes, definitely. So take care, Michael. Have a great night. And thanks so much for purchasing the airbrush. Let me know how the Extreme Patriot 105 goes. If you have any questions, always feel free to let me. Always great to hear from you. Air Todd says he's afraid that he's going to erase the work, so he just when he erased the lines. Yeah, so as long as you need them, keep them, right? I would never say get rid of them if you're not ready to not use them anymore. So don't worry about that. So these values are super compressed, and so right now I'm getting all the values very close to one another, because then I can make those micro blends, right? And that's going to make a big difference, everybody. Don't worry about going over. You can always come back in with your India ink, so don't worry about that. But try and get to where you can see that the light is hitting the top part of the zygomatic bone. So we're going to hit that. And it's always great to see you, Mr. Michael. So let's zoom out a little bit so you can see what we have right now. It doesn't look like much, but we'll get there. Let's erase this while we can here. Get rid of some of these pencil lines. every painting's going to have something that is like going to get under your skin. Don't worry, that's all part of it. So, you know, I would say in the last month or so, part of my aesthetics has changed a little bit. I'm working on a new technique. I would say a new approach to portrait painting. So I'm a little bit harder on myself in the early going. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up just shortly to see where we are, because we're at the first hour, so that's not bad. So 1 hour down. And I want to stay away from erasing, because sometimes the erasing might do more harm than good. We want compression and subtlety. We want 19th century French painting look. So that's where we are right now. And it's nice, you know, it's not bad. And let's see, Big Mountain says, that's really the point of erasing. The trick is using restraint, minimalist erasing. Erasing is a great tool for portraits, especially when approaching a more realistic, definitely. No, no, please, that's the whole thing about this live stream, Big Mountain, is that it's a forum for everyone, not just me. I'm just one of everybody. So I love to hear your thoughts, different techniques that you use. So this is not your average live stream. It's about you guys more than it's about me. All right? I want you to know that. So please, this is all about you talking about new things that you're doing, new techniques that you want to share. Things you saw on Facebook, you know? Yeah, as Dave says, please keep going, you know? That's what this is all about. It really is a community. I look at this not like a live stream, like learning about tech or anything like that. I really think it's about community, a place to hang out. And, you know, I consider you all friends, you know? Real friends, not, you know, Facebook friends or anything like that. I consider you as real friends, and I really look forward to Wednesday nights, as everyone does, you know, in this community. So glad to have you, Big Mountain, and you keep coming, you know. No, it's, you know, it's all a free-for-all, you know. It's just let it rip. That's what's important, you know. Just let it rip. We love to hear from you. I learn more from everyone else than everyone else is learning from me half the time here. And so now I'm working on her shoulder. Now I'm being careful about the anatomy, the chromium process, the trapezius over here, and then right here we have the sternocleidomastoid right over here. Why do I love portraits? Because the human body is just so elegant and so beautiful. It's God's most perfect creation, and well, not perfect creation, but one of God's most beautiful creations. And it's just so stunning, you know. It's so stunning to paint the human body, and you know, I'm really blessed to have that opportunity, to have that as my calling. And see, here it comes. So with this knowledge of anatomy, I'm able to understand and read it like you can read a treasure map, right? So here is the deltoid and the chromium process, the trapezius, the sternocleidomastoid, the clavicle, and then here the sternum. So it all kind of adds up and falls into place, you know? Dave says only Big Mountain's comments are more useful than his. and Dave says he's not chatting as much as usual because I'm fleeing ink. That is great news. That is fantastic, Dave. I love hearing that. And Big Mountain says he's passionate about what he does and tend to take over discussion. No, it's just, that's not taking over. It's just, you know, being excited. And that kind of enthusiasm, that grows, you know, that's contagious stuff. Good contagious, not like COVID. That's bad contagious. So right here we have the sternocleidomastoid coming up here, right? So I can understand what's happening because I study anatomy on my free time like a nut, you know? And so I'll look at the muscles of the face, the muscles of the nose, you know, the bones of the skull. That's what I do on my downtime when I'm not painting. And Astral says he just Googled the female equivalent of the Archangel Michael. It's the Archangel Michaela, also known as Faith. Wow, that's pretty cool. I love that. So maybe this is Michaela, huh? And watch as a... So there's a series of degrees of light. So the way light works is light is energy. And it's at 100% power when it's coming from its source, but it really dissipates quite dramatically. So you'll see a lot more light here on her deltoid and shoulder, but over here there's a lot less light, and it's only maybe 6 inches away, but you can see how the drop off of light is, and it might be partially in shadow and a lot of reflected light is going on. Now remember, reflected light is basically light bouncing off of another form and that form becoming its own light source. However, it's going to be much weaker than the main light source, which is right here. So when I first started doing this technique, I would work in the Airbrush India ink, and then, you know, and then I would do a little bit of the white mixture at the end. But the white mixture is really becoming a much bigger part of the equation here. Like I said, don't worry about going over what I did with the hair and the eyes. You can always go over it. In this early stage, when we're working with the detail mixture, there's almost no blue shift, so don't worry about that, okay? And let's see what we have. Big Mountain says he's doing a custom RC body with crazy detail work. If anyone here has ever done RC bodies, you realize that the paint process has done in reverse order, backwards, and that is really cool. And Dave says, any drills you use for practicing shading, anyone? Yes, so let's hear about other people's, other members, and then I'll do mine. You might say mine already, but let's do that together. So anyone has any great ideas for shading, let us know. I think I'm going to use a kneaded eraser because it's a very subtle erasing here. Going to erase this pencil line here. Yeah, so the kneaded eraser is probably the best eraser because it's going to very subtly remove some of these pencil lines. It's not going to be so drastic. Famous last words, right? Let's see. Nope, I think that's the case. And you can pinch it to be almost like a fan brush. Very cool. And Mr. Bobby says he has 2 bodies he haven't painted yet, not sure what color schemes to want to go with. Very cool. I always look to nature when I look for color schemes, right? Like you look on a rock or a seashell, and a lot of times they'll have these incredible color schemes that could really inspire you, Bobby. So look at nature, especially you being at the beach. You know, look and see what nature has to offer. So as far as erasing, do not use this because it will create a hard line. But if you use a kneaded eraser and kind of thin it out to like a fan, you can actually do much better erasing without having it make really dark lines. Wow, those are some good ideas. So yeah, definitely. I think the best thing to do is the best way for shadowing is learning about distance. Distance is the unsung workhorse of any airbrush artist. Notice how I use distance so much. I mean, distance is probably more important than any stroke out there, is the distance. You know, changing my distance, things like that, really makes a huge difference in my work. That's where I feel the most control is, in the distance and controlling distance. And definitely, so when I was coming in with this bad idea, right? So always come in. Now, let's say you're coming with the eye, and you know you want to darken that eye because you did the white mixture. Then I would say, okay, now come in with your mono eraser, and then you could do some really nice damage with that. That's fine. But if you're doing like an inner contour or something like that, it's a bad idea. So remember that, you know, when you're erasing the pencil lines, on if you're doing something very linear, like an eyelash or something, then yes, the mono would be great for that. Otherwise, use this, and this is the knead eraser, and it's not going to be too harsh, and it's going to be a nice fade, almost like the airbrush. So remember that. That's a good tip, you know. Astro says he used chiaroscuro techniques and spent years learning perspective techniques to use on them. Oh yeah, chiaroscuro is great. Caravaggio, Giuseppe de Ribera, amazing. Light and darks. And Bobby says, Tim, does erasing lines work when you sublimate line drawings? I'm not sure what you mean, but we'll go over that later. Let's see. So sublimation is a little bit different, Bobby. We'll talk about that. Let's see here. So now we can come back here and just very lightly. So I was able, so if we see here, I was able, let me see if I can make this smaller. Okay, so now I can come back and kind of reinforce some lines here. And right here we have the malar fat compartment, and then we have the zygomatic bone right here. So when you're seeing things light and dark, you want to know why it's happening, and that's so important, you know. And let's see here, Astral says, well, maybe I do only instinctively. Very cool. And Big Mountain Custom says, it's a good feeling to look at something you did backwards and it turned out believable. Yes, that is so true. That's a great feeling. And a lot of times it's such a struggle. People don't see the struggle that we have during these paintings, you know, from the beginning. Like I said, don't worry about going into the hair. See, I went right into the hair. Don't worry about that. What's more important is the inner construction and the compression of values. I'm going to lighten this upper lip because remember, I'm planning on painting this with Wicked paints, right? So I want this like super compressed. So when I come in with my Wicked paints, it's going to be like stained glass, right? It's going to emanate this white underneath. It's going to be some nice effects. Remember, every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. Sun Tzu, the Art of War. And so that's exactly what we're doing. So we're setting up for what we're going to do 3 weeks from now. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is the setting up. And that's the genius, for lack of a better term. And right here we could work on the dark of the philtrum. So, retrospect, what we learned tonight is that the knead eraser is your tool when working on something as the face, okay? Remember that. Not to mention the feedback you get from the clientele. Yes, so cool. And Dave says he thought about RC bodies, but haven't had too many other projects at the moment. He does love watching them together. Yeah, come together in reverse. So very cool. Astral says an architect spends years training in perspective, a lot of drawing and being critiqued. Oh yeah, that's rough. Critiques are hard, you know, they're not the easiest things to take. Okay, so let's work on her wing, right? So we have this, we established this, and you know, we want her to have this glow, right? That's important. She's an angel of light. Well, she's an angel with bright lights. She's not the angel of light. So she's the Archangel Michaela. I love that. Now, that was from the movie Phenomena, which was with John Travolta, remember that? And Forrest Whitaker was a guy, and you know, he just stayed on his ham radio all the time, didn't get out much, and he met this maid. She was Portuguese, and her name was Micaela. And he said to her in Portuguese, Tu rosto es como un poema. And I think that's what he said, is your face is like a poem. And I thought that was just the best line ever in Portuguese. I think it's tu rostro. In Spanish it would be tu rostro es como una poema. But it's very close in Portuguese. That is a great movie, isn't it, Dave? It really is. Dave says he's the worst critic. Yes, we are all our worst critic, aren't we? You know? And true, Big Mountain, we can't grow unless we're critiqued, but we need very sensitive and caring critics, right? We don't need someone who's going to be hurtful or discouraging. We need to be tread very lightly, because you know, all artists, we always put our heart and soul into these things, as you know, as you do, right? We all do. Okay, so now let's lighten this pencil line from the get-go here. Oh no, so Astra used to draw up before them. That's it. So Dave, yes, you have to buy her chairs, you know? That is, you know, such a great line, you know? He says, you know, have you bought your lady friends chairs, you know? That's the thing. Robert Duvall, what a great supporting role he had in that film. Just amazing, you know? And I love, you know, at the end when they wanted to, you know, I don't want to give it away, but he just said that, you know, in those last couple of seconds, I might just have something to say. And those last couple of days, he might have something to say. I love that part. So I'm going to come in with the white mixture, and we're going to kind of establish, yeah, brilliant films, one of my favorites. I love the fact when he starts reading and learning and just, you know, and he says what happened to him is inside of us. We all could learn like that. We just have to awaken it, you know? And we all have different learning styles. Again, I'm probably about 6 inches away, and I'm gonna get light gradually. There's no rush. I'll get there, right? Whether you're going dark or going light, there's so much time to do it. So you can take your time. And so, just so beautiful. And we all need the beginnings, you know, whether it's the beginning of a painting or the beginning of your airbrush career, we all need those beginnings. And, you know, they're going to not always be so pretty, and they're going to be rough, but you know what? It's where you're going that's important, where the painting is going. So that technique is really working, what Drew said. So I just leave water in my airbrush, and I just have a lot less clogs. But wait until a couple of weeks, because we're going to be working with Wicked paints. Well, first I'm going to be doing the Lifeline colors, because we all know how much I love the Lifeline colors. It's going to be a fun painting. I think it may be quick, but it's going to be fun. And Big Mountain says, stage fright in many forms is a necessary thing. The second you lose the stage fright is the second you're no longer passion-led. Oh, wow. When I was a student, Astral said, oh, okay, cool. And so great conversation going out. Air Todd says he kind of went to 105, have many brushes already. Oh, you kind of want the 105? Oh, yeah, the 105, the large, it's a beautiful brush. It just looks beautiful, and it just goes really well with the Extreme Patriot Arrow. It really does. And, you know, when you're doing a larger painting, which eventually you will, you're going to need that big cup. But I do have a few in stock, but I don't know how long I will have them or when I will get them again. So if anyone's interested in that 105, remember the Ink Flinger, singular, Ink Flinger 15 gives you 15% off of all your orders tonight only. Everything in your order. That's including both airbrushes. So if you just pick the Extreme Patriot Arrow, and then you just shoot me an email or a message that you want the large cup as opposed to the small cup. And now in here, it's light, but it's in shadow, but not shadow like you think. So I'm going to go about 12 inches, and I'm going to be very light in here, inside, because we want compression of values, right? Our propensity is to always have high contrast, but you know what I'm learning is that you want to compress those values to get a more classical feel. because if you compress those values and don't paint with black and don't paint with white and paint what's in between, you're forced to really use those values close to one another to make things turn, to make it three-dimensional, make it go towards the light, make it go away from the light. Oh, you have the Eclipse. That's a beautiful brush, yes. And so let's move this off and see what we have thus far. See how this is going. Alright, we're going to move this off and we'll see what we have though so far. Not bad. She's starting to look like an angel. Not quite as beautiful as she is, but that's my job to try and make that happen. So this is where we are thus far. And as far as the background, so right here I want to make a stencil. So if anyone's interested, I'm going to have that on the website where you can buy the stencils and the line drawing. So that will include the dress. So I'm going to make that tonight so you can get that dress and get that beautiful hard edge. Oh yeah, the pack valve is really wonderful. With the spring, it's really cool. And Dave says his practice page is filled with script L's. My name, his name, dagger strokes, circles, dots, and boxes. That is so great. And oh, so this will be your staple on Wednesday nights. Yes, it will pay dividends. Trust me, it totally will. So now we'll do some, now I'll get my airbrush glove, and I owe you some airbrush gloves. I just got to wait until they get in stock. Mr. Dave, I didn't forget about you, sir. One large. And so right now I'm just going to do a little cleanup here. And I do have pencil lines, but you got to be super careful with those pencil lines because they will hurt you. So this guy, the kneaded eraser, is the way to go. Now right here, I may use the mono to kind of get that line between the wing and the underside of the wing. And it's super subtle and it works. Now a lot of times you'll see in here that it's just too dark right now, right? Like this dark of a nose is just really strong and I don't want it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. It's counterintuitive, but you know, it's my new technique. Not my new technique, but an advent to my old technique. Augmentation. Astral says, lovely dusting so far. Thank you. I appreciate that, Astral. Thank you so much. And Big Custom says he entered the custom auto air arena. He asked his doctor how much an entry level out of school can you be paid. He said $350 at the time, so I started. You started charging people $350 an hour? That's amazing. Wow, that's great. I don't make anything near that, my friend. So I applaud you, and I love the fact that I love when artists are getting paid. That's amazing. That is so cool. Up, little bit of a break here. There we go. Now, let's see. So I have my white mixture, and I want to compress those values. It's just so important to compress those values. I can't tell you enough. This is too dark. So I'm going to take my white mixture, and I'm going to dust in the dark here. And so you say, oh my God, that's going to create a blue shift. Not in the early going. Now, in the project that you're working on, Dave, don't go by this because I wasn't doing that at that time. So just go with the step-by-steps of that lesson. of that online course. So my technique has changed a little bit over the last year, since last year. In a good way, I hope. So it's all about value compression at this point in time. So right here, I have a little bit of a pencil line here. But I think the best route is to just kind of continue painting over it rather than try and wrestle with it. And Big Mountain says, I have no idea I'd even be able to get clients for that price, because how do you explain that? Is that I do it and couldn't take it somewhere else. Wow. No, that's great. I mean, that means you're very good that you get that raise. God bless you. Okay, so remember I have that detail mixture. Super light detail mixture. So now I'm going to work back with that. And I use the stencil just to lay in some of the large shapes. So I find that it's really important to have ink in the brush. So there was no ink in the brush, and I was wondering why nothing was coming out. So half and half still, half detail, half water. So 20 and 20. Go. And 20 drops of water. One, two, three, four. Great. So if you guys, anyone's interested out there, you might not know, but I am a signature member of the Pastel Society of America, won over 30 national, international awards, a lot more than 30. And also I studied oil painting in New York City for 8 years, and also I teach airbrush, and I teach graphite. So if you're interested in, seeing where airbrush can take you, I definitely recommend studying with me. I have people who are studying with me, and not exaggeration, they're with me almost 5 years. My average is over 3 years. So those who are with me stay with me because of what you get and how you continue growing as an artist. So each of my students, they study with me 2 hours a week, one-on-one, right? And it's within their schedule and my schedule. We work together. And we go inside because we're grown-ups. Some of us have children, some of us have jobs, and we can work together. We work on projects that I and the student pick. So it's not just any cookie cutter project. It's something that's important to you, that aesthetically you like. And we start slow, and we go at your pace. There's no time limit as to when the painting will be done, right? And so it's great to do that, because as grown-ups we have other things we have to do, and you learn so much. It's 2 hours a week, every week, 52 weeks a year. That is a huge accumulation of study. And with me, you're not just studying airbrush. You're studying anatomy. You're studying light and shade. You're studying composition. You're studying all the stuff I did in art school and all the cultivation I did outside of art school. So those are the things that you learn from me. My students never get bored. because I'm always pushing them to get better. And there's a linear progression, you know. I mean, they can stay with airbrush as long as they want, but they're free to go into other things. And I'm able to teach that. Dave says he might quit his day job to go ahead and do custom work. That's so cool. And Astral says, I knew I was doing something wrong. I charged £2 a square inch. Hey, you know, it's cool. Wow, that's fantastic that you're able to do that. That is fantastic, my friend. So, another thing, Mr. Dave talked about controlling the airbrush, and a lot of it comes down with working very light to dark. Look how light I am. So, if I'm working light, I can gradually do things uh, without worrying about going too far. If I go light, I can gradually bring in my values. Plus, those who take my classes, they get to learn firsthand my Gideon color theory method, which isn't out yet. I'm trying to get it out this year, available. And that really helps students out a lot. Notice how slowly I'm building things up, which is so important, you know? Oh, that's okay. You take your time. If you have any questions about the class, Mr. Todd, please let me know. And oh, Mr. Dave signed up for the mentorship. That is so exciting. Oh man, so we're gonna talk, and you know what time's best for you. We work within your schedule. For yourself, you may be. So here's a cool thing, Dave. So let's say 1 week you might be on a business trip. We can double up the week before, the week after, so you never miss, you know? So that is so great. I'm really excited about that. So that is like really cool. Glad to have you aboard, Mr. Dave. That is so exciting. Mark says, has to go. Thanks, Timothy. Mark, take care, my friend. Always a pleasure. And it's always fantastic to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out. And so, Mark, I appreciate you a lot, and I hope to see you next week. So that is great. And let's see. Want to make sure. I got to make sure, Mark. Got to make sure I see where you were from. I don't have it. But Mark, if you haven't gone yet, tell me one more time where you're from, and I'll put it in my brain. Hopefully, you know, it'll stay there for a while. So that's cool. So yeah, it really is great. The mentorship program is something that really, because you learn a lot more you can do a lot in the course of a year than you could in a month. So what do they say? We overestimate what we can do in a week and underestimate what we can do in a year. So I really enjoy the mentorship program. I love to see my students grow. That's super exciting to me. So I'm compressing the values, making sure they're close, and I can always go over it again. So keeping them compressed and then gradually darkening it. So you'll see is I may darken it and go over it again, but I want to create that sense of light and an ethereal light, right? Something that is otherworldly, you know? So that's important. And so great to see you, Mark, that's for sure. Now right here on her shoulder we have a beautiful sense of light. And so the way this photograph is that it's called bokeh, where it's probably like a really like wide open aperture, so we get all the sharpness and light here, and then everything just a few inches away will actually be blurry and darker, and that's what's happening here. So it's good to know photography as well when you're painting, because that's going to let you know what the light is doing. Because in the modern day world, most of what we see has to do with lenses and cameras and metering systems. So understanding that is going to go a long way. So that's good. There's this little pencil line here. You have to be so careful, these pencil lines, because they will chew you up and spit you out. We have to be so careful. So we're going to go work on this shoulder here. And remember, it's all about compression. Keeping those values super close. When we are ready, we'll put some detail in, and then I'm going to shellac it. And I'm shellacking that paper, and then I'm going to go over it with the Createx. So I could paint on this paper no problem, but if I do, that means without shellacking it, I won't be able to clear it or put varnish on it. So that's why varnish is so important. Plus varnish opens up a lot of other possibilities of, let's say, working on oils, you know, because if you varnish the paper, it accepts oil paints, which is amazing. Be careful with the white, because it might look like, it might appear that, you know, nothing's happening, nothing's coming out, but it is, because when you first put it on, it's wet, so it darkens. And then when it's dry, you're going to say, oh my goodness, I put too much white there. So be careful of that. Am I out of white again? I am. So we are painting a lot today. We're getting a lot done, which is fantastic. Uh, let's go ahead and put that in there. And I'm going to compress the forehead just a little bit more. I want that glow, right? So that's important. So in these early goings, this is kind of like playing football, you know, when you see two teams and they run the ball like most of the time and score. That's setting the tempo for the whole game, you know, a message. And that's what we're doing now by making sure that we compress the values and get a sense of that glowing light. That's going to go a long way for the rest of the painting. It's going to set the tone. So I'm liking the spray, so I'm going to come in with the white in the eyes, although the eyes are far from white, right? Let's see. Let's see what we have. I get a lot of spidering from shellac. Am I doing something wrong? Oh my goodness, yes. Now, Astral, now you're talking about after you apply the shellac, when you go to paint, you get the spidering that way? Because so remember, all your surfaces are totally different. It's like, you know, dating different women, you know. It's like what works and what's funny to one girl is definitely not funny to the other girl, and you know the other girl might laugh with you, the other guy might hit you in the head. So it's the same thing. Different surfaces, you have to treat them differently because they're gonna react differently to different things. So I put one coat of shellac, and I do have a video in my channel. Go to, I have two videos on applying shellac, and see just how much I put on there. I don't put two, I put one coat. If you put two coats, then it becomes totally slick, and it's like almost like working on one of those like particle boards. Like it's really hard, and you do get spidering. But I also, you know, I increase my distance and lower my, so when you're getting spidering, increase your distance a little bit and lower the air pressure a little bit with the pack valve. That should work. And just baby it, you know, and you just have to figure out, like, things are going to be different with different surfaces. Now, right now, I'm doing another version of this painting, and I started it here. So here's my second version. This is on gesso board, right? So it's a wood panel with gesso. So I'm going to handle it differently on here because I get a lot more spidering with this. So so try that. Increase your distance a little bit and lower the pressure. See if that helps, you know? So you spray, and also that's another thing. So you might be laying it on a little bit too thick, and then you have more shellac surface and it's like really slick. So test that out. Do some tests on that. That would be great. Air Todd, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate yous. So thank you so much, Mr. Todd. And I think I have a good sense. I think we have a good sense of the light, and that kind of heavenly light, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get an earthly light with this. I'm trying to get, you know, when you see an angel, you must get a sense of the heavenly powers. And so that's what I want to really express with this. Compression of values, right? That's the whole thing. Compression of values. We can always go darker. We can always increase the contrast later. But let's come from a place where everything is really unified, and a real sense of the light just, you know, kissing those forms. So one more minute. Okay, great. So thank you so much, everyone, for this last minute. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you so much, Mr. Dave, for the super chat. And thank you, Mr. Michael McClung, for the super chat. You guys are great. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I really appreciate you. You all are super amazing. And you all make my my Wednesdays just super amazing. And just super, super excited about it. And but remember, if it's I'm going to write it down again. No pressure sales. If you need something, that is great. It's just Ink Flinger 15 for the next 24 hours. Well, until tomorrow. Ink Flinger 15 for 15% off. You put that in on inkflingers.com. You put that in at checkout. So that's cool. And so we are at 11:30. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging out with me. And Astral says he started knocking the shellac back with a glass fiber eraser, which I think is making my life harder. Yes, shellac is something you can't erase away. And you can't use the eraser techniques with the shellac. That's just a caveat. I do it because, you know, I'm doing my own thing. But we'll talk about that next week, Astral. Thanks, guys. You guys are all amazing. I hope to see everyone next week. Have a great weekend. And I will talk to you all soon. You are all very important to me. Take care.